Okay, here's a couple of other roof related items for you. Um, there are two profiles in the files that I'm giving you to download, and they are for the parapet caps right here that go around the building. One is for a 12-inch wall, which would be the brick and block, the east wall and the south wall. And then one is a 8-inch, 7 and 5/8. It's for the north wall and the west wall. And they're just wall sweeps, so you load those family or the profiles into your project and then go in and edit, create a wall sweep. I call it parapet top. That sounds good. Um, and use that as your profile right here. Okay. And then you'll put those things around. And once you're going to put around, you kind of have to drag the ends where the two different ones meet. You kind of have to drag the ends a little bit, and then you can join them. Just use a join command to join them, and it'll make a nice looking joint there for it. Okay. All right. And you have to get that put in the parapets before you can do the canopy out here in the front. And in working through this, one of the changes that we're making is the height of the canopy. I pulled it down so that it covers the beam over the main window here. I can't remember the height, like 8'8" or something like that. I pulled it down, but I'll put those in the notes so you know what it is. And I just did a model in place. Let me pull up my south elevation here. I just modeled a component in place and did a sweep. Okay. Edit sweep. Okay, and so now you can see my sketch that I used for the top of it, and you'll have to get the parapet cap in so you can look at it in section and take some measurements because this top edge right here needs to be at a 45-degree angle. Okay. The depth of it is supposed to be a 6 foot um, 6 foot canopy. I think we're running 6 feet. Um, so it sticks out 6 feet from the brick. So it needs to go back into the wall 6 feet 4 and 5/8 inch, I believe is what it is. So you just got to play with your numbers uh, and see what works, because here's what it looks like where it goes through the a masonry wall over the windows, because we want that to go under the canopy right there, the flashing. Okay, and then oh, wrong plan. I got to exit out of that. And so on the brick wall, it'll look like this. Okay, and we're not going to do a building section through the front wall, I don't believe, just because it gets rather complicated for what we're doing in the class. Anyway, okay, yeah, bottom academy, 8'8", and so that gives us a pretty good looking front entryway for the thing. And of course, I made the ends of it flush with my brick on both ends, and had to edit the wall finish on the clapboard to pull it down far enough so that it comes under the canopy, and it's covered up and closed on the ends there. All right, skylights. I gave you dimensions in the in the project tips and notes and things. and some kind of step-by-step stuff that you would do. What I have working through this again, I think a new way, a better way, is I put two reference planes in. Uh, this one running the length of the building, and I put one in here for my north-south. And everything that I've done, I've dimensioned to these reference planes. My goal is to be able to build this skylight assembly and then package it together and copy it down my building so that I'm not having to redo every single step. And I think the best way to do that was constraining everything to reference planes. So I put one in here and I put a vertical one in here. And I tell you, first time I did it, I put it in this bay. And then I worked through it, I worked through it, I worked through it. And the thing is, you can put it in, but then when you go and look at your ceiling grid, it really looks better if that skylight opening is inside of these 4-foot T's that are running east and west across your building. It just makes a nicer looking roof. Okay, so you want to do that, and of course it's got to be centered between two of our roof trusses. So the first step would be, just like in the book, to resize your skylight, and you'll resize it based on what kind of trusses you used. Did you use the TJL trusses that come in Revit, or did you use the red built truss? So that determines the width, this dimension of your skylight. The length of it can stay just like I've got in the notes, like 46 inches long, somewhere around there. Okay, so yes. Okay, first step to do would be figure out where you're going to put these things at, all right? And you can measure off of you can measure here to see how far back you want to come with it based on your ceiling that you've got put in. Your ceiling may be a little different than my ceiling. I don't know. So my numbers may not help you that much. Okay, so you figure out where it's going to go, put you in some reference planes. And then on your roof level, you can turn off visibility or you can go wireframe, either one. And let's see, let me pull my section view back in here. And what I did first step is I put a hole in my plywood roof deck. Okay, so I hid everything above it. Or you could start with, this roof doesn't really matter. I did this one because I could see it against there. And everything that I've created is dimensioned off of these two reference lines. The problem is if you constrain things to the edges of your trusses, if you go to move and copy, then it's going to break those constraints and you're going to lose everything. So everything you do should be based on those reference lines. So you'll make a vertical opening through your plywood roof deck that is the size of the skylight. Make a vertical opening through your EPDM roof that is 1.5 inch larger all the way around than your plywood opening, and then build a generic model, a generic roof. Well, it's kind of hard for me to pick it up because the skylight is sitting right on it and it's inside the roof area, but it's this darker gray color thing here. That is my my generic roof that I built and I put in place. And then you can put your skylight on top of the generic roof. And in my papers, in the papers I said make a section through where the skylights go and check the height. And then I said, make you a generic roof. I'll